Wherever you find yourselves in this weird, wild, wacky world of ours, and welcome to another exciting installment of Darkness in Dublin. This evening's scene will take place outside the building that has become known as the Temple of 10,000 Happinesses. For those of you who don't know, this is not a building of any religious or monastic order, no. It is merely the rather catchy and coy name for an Asian casino and bathhouse that has been set up in the centre of Dublin, the most glamorous district, just north of Blanchardstown. Mr. Finlay Weiss, and his business partner Mr. Adrian Cutler, are standing outside. Mr. Cutler is having a cigarette both men are having cigarettes before they have to go in for what will no doubt be another rather stressful, if somewhat profitable evening. And we will join them as Mr. Cutler stubs out his last cigarette.
It's not
this worth it.
It's not going to be that bad. At least I hope not.
Oh, you have no idea. Everything has been going wrong lately. The money's down, the weird shit in the city. Have you been reading the weather reports?
I haven't been doing so much of that now. What'd I miss?
Well, the meteorological office, I'm convinced they're high.
What makes you say that?
A couple of weeks ago, they said snowing in central Dublin in a perfect circle.
Sounds like a glitch with the equipment or something.
Exactly. But they ran with that for like a week. I'm telling you. High as fuck.
Probably.
Yeah. And now we've got going to the news. Child molester in the church and private military company on the streets. Just know. When I get the chance, I'm fucking off out of Dublin. I'm getting out of this stupid country.
Careful who you say that to, but I mean, hey, the accounts are doing decently right now, at least.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, let's face it, the business is doing well. The boss might actually be willing to send me off somewhere. Maybe, hell, I might even be able to get him to persuade him to send me off to Japan. I want to see his ancestral homeland because it looks a lot nicer than here, frankly.
Might be nice for a vacation, but I'll probably want to stay here.
Yeah, I'll be glad to go back. I'll be glad to go there and manage the accounts higher up the chain if I can.
We can always dream big.
At the moment, that's all we can do. Anyway, let's get inside before my fingers freeze off.
Sounds like a plan.
He will pull open the door to let you go through.
And he'll head through.
You will be greeted at the concierge desk by the two concierge whose names are literally Lynn and Min, who will bow to you very politely and they will say, "Ah, Mr. Cutler, Mr. Weiss, it is so good to see you again." And creepily enough, they say this in perfect unison.
Nice to see you too, ladies.
Evening.
"We assume that the master is expecting you," Lynn will say. "Would you care to step this way?" Min will add.
Finlay will nod and go with them.
Okay. The casino floor itself, which you see as you walk, you skirt around it. So you basically hug a wall lined with slot machines and other accoutrements. But basically this place is, you would almost say, racistly Chinese or pseudo-Asian. You know, you hear mechanical voices shout things like, "You're the lucky winner!"
So it's more of a caricature. It's more of a caricature.
Yes. essentially, if you've seen themed casinos in the likes of Las Vegas or whatever else, it's essentially designed around that same premise. At the center of the casino floor, there's a large golden dragon statue that rears up, and water spouts from its nostrils into a small pool below, in which there are koi fish that seem to swim around rather contentedly under a glass plate, so idiot drunks won't fall in late at night. The twins will, however, lead you down a side passage through the bathhouse proper. The bathhouse itself is a series of sliding kebaku doors, which are of course made of the traditional paper. And in this section, it is much quieter. There's the steam of the bathhouses and the pleasant aromas that they invoke as you see ladies and gentlemen moving throughout, dressed in black, dressed in black silk robes and whatever else have you, attending the baths. You are then brought to the end of the corridor proper, where you will see a large series of double oaken doors, and the two will bow very politely, and they will say, "Mr. Finlay, Mr. Finlay, Mr. Adrian, if you would not mind staying here, we will announce you to the master." They will then proceed to head inside, and you will be given a few more moments to converse, if you wish to say anything to one another.
As soon as they're out of earshot, he just looks over at Adrian and goes, "Creeps me out every time."
Personally, I'm convinced they practice it. I'm fairly convinced they practice it for when people arrive, because that's not normal.
Well, if they're practicing it with the idea of creeping people out, it's working.
That's what I'm
But
thinking.
Hey, I mean,
then again, and he gestures back the way they came. If any of that qualifies as fucking normal, who knows what normal is nowadays?
True enough.
Rin, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. It's the touristy experience, except we're not in that place, so it makes money. That's what's important.
Yeah, true.
The twins will pop their heads back around the door, and they will step outside before they bow, and they say, "The master will see you now."
Lead on, Weiss.
And he'll head in.
Okay. Inside, this room is much more traditionally Japanese. The floor is wood paneling. On either side of the walls, which are white alabaster stone, you see traditional Japanese wall hangings that, if you can speak the language or have ever asked them to be translated, each one of the hangings on the wall contains a haiku written in free-flowing calligraphy, rather beautiful in a delicate sort of way. In the center of the room, there is a square bath, a singular square bath, that is currently unoccupied. At the end of the room, there is a large chair, which is currently occupied, and behind which there is a large golden dragon statue, this one much more tastefully rendered, a noble beast with eyes that seem to pierce down from heaven. In its mouth, you will notice that there is a sword, as in a physical katana, that has been placed in its mouth that is within easy reach of the individual sat in the chair. You will hear there are 2 or 3 other men in this room who are they're all of Japanese descent and are wearing black business suits. You notice the intricate tattoos that you can see under the shirt collars and under the cuffs. You will see Saishio no Kage, the head of the sorry, I'll put up his picture. There we go. The head of the thousand-tailed dragon Shengumi, seated in a large throne-like chair at one end of the room. And you will see his sister Ikiro. There is a constant sound of tapping, as Saishio himself is naked to the waist, so he's wearing basically traditional Japanese hakama pants that are tied with an obi around his waist. However, he's not wearing anything on his chest, as his sister is inking one of his tattoos, a huge dragon that dominates his chest, and she is very delicately tapping in the traditional Japanese style as you enter.
Adrian will bow as soon as he walks in. He's not dumb.
If that's the appropriate etiquette thing to do, then yes.
You will see him. Well, you'll see the seated man reach down and stroke his sister's head with his hand, and he will say, "It would appear as though our guests have arrived."
She glances back at the people who have arrived. Then she will go back to her work, muttering to her brother, "Yes, it seems they have."
May I offer you gentlemen refreshments, perhaps?
Out of character, it's presumably it'd be impolite not to accept, right?
That's only on a first meeting. You can refuse. He's actually asking if you want to drink or you want something to eat. If you don't want to, it's only when you first meet someone in Japanese society that it's considered impolite to refuse them.
Okay, good to know. He'll probably politely request some water.
And you, Mr. Cutler?
Straightening up slightly. No, thank you, sir. We are here for business, and I wouldn't want to take away your valuable time.
I understand. He will turn to one of the very burly Japanese men in the room and will say, "Nurakai, Nensio no Kasuke, Densina no Sareki." For the record, if for Ikiro, he has just said, "See to whatever it is that they wish for the time being." You will then be denoted that chairs will be brought out for you to sit down in. And he will say, "Please, gentlemen, take a seat."
Bow again, sit down.
Ditto.
So, I am led to understand that you have reports to give.
Presumably, out of character, these reports are mostly, since a lot of it is things that should not be on paper, most of it's in our heads, right?
I would say 90% of it you have memorized, yes.
All right, fair enough. In that case, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, you continue, sorry.
I was going to say, if since the last thing he said was basically asking to confirm we do have reports for them, and he'd nod. He's probably got a couple of papers in a folder, probably in a nice little briefcase.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, quick question. Does Finley speak any Japanese?
I did not put it on the sheet, so probably not more than a couple words.
In that case, you will not understand a damn word as Adrian immediately and in fluent Japanese begins relaying basically his financial report to the boss, because no way is he saying this in English. The local police speak English.
You'll see Saisha will nod along with the comments that are being made to him. He will kind of quirk an eyebrow once in a while, and he will say, "When you've finished, I thank you for your due diligence, Mr. Cutler."
You will hear Finley will hear him say, "Hi, Saisho Dono." You have no idea what the hell he's just said.
Well, he assuming hi means yes.
Yeah, that much I get.
Right.
But at which point Saisho will look very calmly towards Finlay, and he will say, "And you, Mr. Weiss, your report, please." Basically, how it's probably been split is you probably each oversee two different aspects. Okay, would Finlay rather human trafficking or arms running?
Probably human trafficking.
Okay, that's fine. Be the human scum. I know you can be.
Yeah, I didn't pick monster, but I mean, yeah. So he'll presumably he'll give his report. I assume everything's ship shape financially, given his relevant stats and everything else. Okay.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine. You basically you launder money that comes. The Thousand Tail Dragon Shinsengumi don't really traffic people for things like the sex trade. What they actually do is more basically getting Chinese immigrants illegal papers. This is why they're here in Europe, because essentially they're getting them EU standard citizenships, which basically means that they can then traverse to any of the other European nations. So essentially,
and most of my job is pretty much just juggling the books so that none of this can be tracked properly and it all looks shipshape for taxes and so on and so forth.
Yep. Very calmly, Sasha will nod. At which point he will lean down and he'll kiss his sister on the forehead and he'll say in Japanese, "Now that's enough." He'll say in Japanese, "Now that's enough. I may need to move in a few minutes if you don't mind," because you're tattooing his chest, so his ability to move is kind of impinged on you not tattooing his chest.
If you say so, brother. And she will, move away and get all of her stuff all settled up and closed.
Through the mental link, he'll say, "However, I do have a present for you."
She kind of looks up at him. You guys can see this, though. You can't really, y'all can't know what's being said. And she gets this really happy, excited look on her face. And she says, through the mental link, she'll say, "A present for me?"
Yes. Now then, watch as I work and you will see it. He will very calmly lean forward. He will say, "I contemplate something, gentlemen, if you will forgive my ignorance. I have been in contact with my agent in Macau, who has been overseeing the repatriation of Chinese nationals."
I'm getting a couple words out of what you're saying.
Oh, sorry. He says, "I have been in contact with my agent in Macau, who has been providing Chinese nationals with the loans necessary in order to find purchase on ships and convoys to the west. However, he informs me that some of his payments have not been correctly supplied, and that those that have had money. He claims that the amounts given were not the amounts agreed upon. I merely wish to understand why that is. You gentlemen oversee these transfers."
Out of character, what do I know about this?
For all you know, you have sent the correct amount of money every month. You do not skim the books.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not suicidal. And he's going to look very shocked when you say that, but then very quickly try and school his reaction, because he's not going to try and flip out. That's inappropriate here. But very determinedly says, I'm trying to think how he would delicately phrase this. All the transactions that I have overseen have been to the letter of our agreement.
If you look at Cutler's face, he seems to be thinking something. He looks very almost like he's calculating something in his head. Evan, you were going to say something?
No, he was waiting for you to answer the question.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I did.
After maybe a minute or two, he will say, "I wouldn't know, sir. As far as I've been able to work out, and I admit it's all mental math, so it might be a little off at times, but as far as I'm able to work out, the numbers fit."
I see.
I can only apologize if I've miscalculated somewhere. As I say.
Both of you will notice two of the very large, burly Japanese men have moved and are now standing in front of the door.
Adrian will just nod. He's expecting this. Because an accusation like that doesn't get leveled easily.
So, I'm led to understand by your logic, then, that both hands are clean and no one is He contemplates his next words very carefully. No one is drinking from the cup more than they should by your gentleman's admissions. Is that correct?
Correct.
Neither of us, I believe, sir. As to whether or not there are others in our employ or other parts of the chain, we wouldn't dare vouch for them. We don't know them well enough.
He will nod very slowly and he will say, have we not always done good business, you gentlemen and I?
I would say so, sir.
I'd agree with that.
There's a nod. He would say, I ponder something. What is the numbers 17839221785 mean to either of you?
Out of character, is that one of the accounts or?
Anthony, out of character, that is the account number you've been skimming money into.
Do I know that number or no?
No, that's not a number you've ever heard of. But by listening to it, it's a number based on every banking nation. Every banking nation has a 4-digit or it's a 5-digit prehensile before it, so that's a Swiss account. The record. That's about all you know.
Yeah, you'd work out that's a Swiss account. Adrian will again look as if he's calculating, as if he's running numbers through his head, and he'll say, "That's a Swiss account, isn't it, sir?"
Yes. A Swiss account held via proxy name, into which 0.1% of all of my financial transactions have been bled into. At least that is as far as we have been able to ascertain.
0.1%. And again, like mental math. Then suddenly wide-eyed. Dear God, that's an absurd sum of money, sir. Utterly absurd.
Yes, it is. Very calmly, he will lean in and he will say, So, Mr. Cutler, I would ask, why is it that you have betrayed me? At which point you hear click, 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 as guns are very assuredly drawn.
Yep.
I'm not moving at all because even stepping away could get me shot.
Oh yeah, Cutler's head will slowly turn, like noticing each of the gunmen in turn. Then hands on knees, slowly lever himself to his feet. Would you like an honest answer? Or would you like
Yes.
to lying grovel?
I think that we both know that groveling is pointless at this point in the game, Mr. Cutler.
Very good. He'll roll up his sleeve. Evan,
Mhm.
you will see a brutal branding on his right inner forearm.
Mhm.
He will point at it and go, "This is what happened when you sent me on that deal to Shanghai less than a year ago. Do you recall?
I do.
This is what happens when a Tong decides that my employer isn't paying them enough." It occurred to me at that point that I was as good as betrayed. I've learned something from you, Saisho no Kage. Vengeance should always be taken if possible. One never knows when one might die. I expected to die that day, and since then, I've done my best. Oh, incidentally, just so you're aware, and he's actually starting to laugh quite hysterically through this. That money, if no new payments are made with the right code within the next 3 days, yes, 3 days, it will all be sent to Evan, he basically says the name of a rival of Sideshow's exact rival group in the Yakuza.
Very, very calmly, Saisho nod. He will say, "Thank you. But for the record, you trifle in things you do not understand, little man." And he will say, "For the code," and you see him, he kind of half closes his eyes for a moment. 587-382-521, as he gives the correct code.
There's a moment of blinking. And then you hear him, he starts muttering off to one side as though there's someone standing next to him. At this point, Solon?
Yes.
You can hear him say off to his right. You're to his left. He's saying off to someone, or at least seemingly someone to his right, saying the words, "You told me it would be fine. You swore to me. You said I'd be safe. You said I'd be safe. You said it would be fine."
Now then. He will look down once again at his sister and say, "He is yours. Do with him as you wish."
Yes. Okay, so I'm gonna use my wonder for the first time in fucking forever.
Oh Christ. Oh Jesus, this is not okay.
And
Evan.
then Solon rolled a new character.
Hi Kim, are you going to do that thing that your wonder does?
Which one? I have like 5 things this wonder does. Evan, choose between 1 and 2.
Let's go with 2. Always go with 2.
That's body lock. Okay. I'm gonna do it.
Oh Christ.
I'm gonna do it to the crazy person first, though. What's the diff gonna be for body lock?
I tell you what, rather than do that, because this is Solon's intro and I've kind of got a way I want this to go in my head, do 1.
Oh, well, that's necrosynthesis. I was gonna kill the Cutler dude, not his character.
Oh yeah, I know, but use 1. Because I think it would be more cool to watch.
Okay, that's necrosynthesis. I still need a diff, though.
Okay, so that is a difficulty, because you're in this room, and in this room it is coincidental, so that would be 3 plus 4, which is 7. So you have it'd be difficulty 7, roll 5 dice, difficulty 7. You can spend quintessence up to 3 points of it in order to reduce it to 4 if you would like.
Yup. That's what I'm gonna do.
Which do we use the DoD rolls?
We can, or we can use the we can either use the rolls room or we can use the Discord server, whichever you prefer.
Oh, that's right, Discord. Sorry.
So that's 4 successes.
Okay. This one has the prime infused into it to do that thing, doesn't it? Okay, cool. Basically, what will happen is Adrian's body is suddenly racked, and okay, I'm not gonna lie. What Finlay sees is his body starts to rot, as in you physically see the skin start to slump from bones as maggots start to writhe and roil under his skin. They start to breach through. The smell is absolutely abhorrent. It stinks. It is the smell of rotting meat that has been left for weeks in the sun. Oh God, he's still alive and screaming.
Oh, hold on, Evan.
Yes.
I have something. Give me a sec.
Oh God, he prepared a death picture. No, I'm just kidding.
Actually, I did.
Awesome.
Yes, let's see if I can actually find the wretched thing.
Oh my god.
He's not dead yet. I should point that out.
No, but hold on. But yes, you will see him scorching, flesh tearing, screaming man. Damn, I can't find the picture.
It's fine.
Okay,
Don't worry about it.
Right. If I may add in, Evan,
Mhm.
Just for the sake of, basically, you'll actually have to see red fresh meat under all of his skin. His skin has been completely peeled off, red, flesh still being devoured.
Very
His
calm.
fingers seem longer with the running meat.
Very calmly, Saisha is going to stand up from where he's sitting. He will stroke his sister's face without looking at her absent-mindedly. As he walks forward, he'll hold out his hand, and one of the men will bow deeply before presenting the gun to him. It's a Glock or some other form of handgun. As he walks down to Finlay, and he will say, "Are you still a loyal man, Mr. White?"
Finley is still kind of, he was looking at the rapid putrefaction of the body and just kind of, he's still in that, am I asleep? Wait, what? And he's not fully there, but you talking to him gets his attention, if nothing else. He turns. What did your character say again? Sorry.
Are you still a loyal man, Mr. Wise?
He'll just dumbly nod very quickly. One quick motion.
Very calmly, Saisha will arm the gun, take the safety off with a flick of his fingers, and he'll say, "Then prove your loyalty," as he hands you the gun. "Execute the traitor."
No hesitation. Boom. Done. And now, he's only got firearms 1, but that's enough to actually know how to use it and not fumble.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
If I may, just for the sake of momentary, because I think this will be quite amusing.
That's fine. There can be a few seconds of delay while he makes sure it's working.
Yeah, the last, as you can see, that is the face he screams at you just before you shoot him. But as you shoot him, for a fraction of a second, perhaps, you will hear whispering in the back of your head. It simply whispers the words, "Ah, a new puppet." And then bang.
As the blood starts to spill from the wound that you've caused in this man's head, it is a large wound, because I'm basically going to assume you basically stood up and shot him executioner style, you standing up, him down in the chair, bang, through the head.
Whatever is the most expedient method to get it done, yes.
Okay, that's fine. The blood pooling and flowing from the wounded skull. The world around you will seem to slow, painfully slow. Everything around you will be slightly distorted and off-kilter. So the walls around you will elongate. The figures will hollow. They will lose their eyes. You will not see their features, their faces. You will just see blank slates, flesh covering all orifici. As almost from around you, or perhaps above you, you will hear the sweet tinkling sound of bells, and you will smell the heady aroma of perfume. You will then see, walking across the room, a woman dressed in a luxurious evening gown that appears to be made of crimson silk with black lace choker. She has in one hand a silver cup or goblet that she's casually playing with in her hand, twirling it around. As she gets to the point where our dear Mr. Sorry, my apologies. As we get to the point where our dear Mr. As she stands over where our dear Mr. Adrian is currently sat, she will place the cup under the wound, allowing the crimson liquid to spill into it, before she will very casually raise it to her nose and sniff the parfum, before allowing it to touch her delicate ruby lips. And she says, well. So, it's you at last, or at least the thing that thinks it's you.
Is he able to move or speak at this point?
Yeah, you can move and speak. Everyone else seems to be frozen.
So he's basically like in what would almost appear to be a bizarre, distorted parody of the room he was in.
Essentially, yes.
So okay, so basically the only things that are real, as far as you can tell, are him, her, and Adrian.
Even Adrian's form is blank and slated, but the blood appears to be real.
Ooh, creepy. He just looks at her. He's kind of muttering to himself like, okay, if I'm not asleep, this is I don't know what this is. Who are you?
She'll smile and she'll say, Now. Do you not know how introductions work? The gentleman goes first.
Right. Finley Weiss.
And what is a Finlay Weiss?
Starting from the top, accountant, apparently killer at this point. He's just kind of shaking a little bit. If I sound too calm, the character is not. The character is jittery as fuck. Probably needs to have a cigarette or something very soon now, just because this is not a good night for him.
She will very calmly smile and she'll say, And why is it the lion gives a damn about the insects?
I don't know who you think you're talking to, but I'm not exactly a lion.
And this is what the cosmos opted that I had to work with. Someone is mocking me by their simple breath, but c'est la vie. To answer your question as to who I am, well, in a rather sick and twisted way, I am you. Only not. But, as a matter of fact, I am.
He follows that, thinks for a second. Okay.
I am the nature of you. That thing that is the cosmos that is nothing. I am the dream of mortality made flesh, the lies that are told to children. I am the nothing, I am the void, and yet I am the cosmos. You don't understand now, but I assure you, you will.
He just nods. At this point, he's starting to wonder if whatever this person is, if she's going to kill him. So he's just like, despite what she said, he's like, okay, I've seen enough crazy shit tonight. I am either on one hell of an acid trip. Did he actually drink the water here, by the way? Or did that never actually materialize?
I assume you did, yes.
He's probably wondering what was in the water.
But, Evan, may I add something at this point?
Okay.
At this point, Finley will hear a voice saying, "Make her get out of my way."
He just looked. Is she currently still standing over the body?
Yes.
And the
He'll
voice
just kind of
came down from the body.
He'll just kind of look at her and be like, "Would you mind very much moving just a little bit to the side?"
She'll smile.
He's just going with it.
She'll smile and she'll say, Not now. We're currently keeping something in its place. Aren't we?
You have no place here, thing.
It amuses me.
This body was mine.
There's a shrug. I will point out you will have to tell Kim what's going on with this thing's spirit in a little bit when we're done with this. But
oh yeah,
she will look at you and she will say, "I have a challenge for you now, Mr. Finlay. Listen.
All right.
Make a wish."
That's going to provoke a bit of like just kind of staring like, really? But he's not going to say anything at first. He's just thinking.
Make a wish.
I wish I had that money back to give to my employer.
Now that is interesting. You will see, basically, for those of you outside, essentially the way I work awakenings is in the moment of your awakening, you have near godlike power. So you will see, basically, materialize at her feet a briefcase. And she will pick up the briefcase and hold it out to you, and she'll say, "Come now, you can do better than that."
He's like, at this point, he's convinced he's tripping. But at this point, after all the things he's seen tonight, he's going with it. He'll think, okay, sure. How about a magic spell book?
She'll quirk an eyebrow, and she'll say, "Interesting premise. Not quite exactly what I was thinking, but why not?" She'll open her hands, and you will see spiders materialize on her fingertips, and you will see them start to secrete webbing, silk, and they will weave and wend over the next few moments together a book, roughly about the size of a notebook, that she'll toss up in her hands, kind of like up and down, up and down, up and down. And she'll then throw it at your chest. And she'll say, "There you go. I must say, of all of the iterations of yourself, this is indeed probably one of the most pragmatic. Congratulations. You haven't asked for true love yet, or the keys to eternal happiness. That's saying something."
Dare I ask what would have happened had I said those things?
You really don't want to know the answer to that question.
Then consider it retracted. I should probably ask what the cost is for this.
You've already paid the price. It's called existing hither to this point as a sheep. Now you finally get to, as I say, step into the world of the lion.
All right. He thinks. We still... he just looks at her for a second like, do I get a third?
I'm not a fucking genie.
I was beginning to wonder. Like, he's not trying to be a dick or anything. He's just like, he's still not sure any of this is anything more than a really bad acid trip mixed with witnessing a, Yakuza execution.
What do you mean witnessing? Carrying out.
Performing! I mean, to be fair, there was duress in that situation. If he hadn't, he would have probably been shot.
Okay. At this point, she'll kind of look up and she'll say, "However, my time is growing short here. You've now woken up. Congratulations. I'll look in on you from time to time to make sure you're not utterly mucking it up. But then again, I have to have some faith in the iteration of you. So, anything you want to know before I have to pop off back to the cosmos?"
He's about to ask her name, and then it kind of clicks. And he's just like, just looks at her. Like he's thinking, he doesn't want to ask anything stupid, and anything he asks right now is going to be ignorant and stupid. But what he's going to say is, if you know as much as I think you know, is there anything you can tell me other than, how would he phrase this? Damn it. I'm trying to think how he'd phrase this. I want to show my boss sorry. It's been a little while. Is there something I could tell? Or okay, I got it. Perfect. Is there something I could tell my employer that would help me earn his trust again? Like something that you might be privy to.
She'll nod and she'll whisper something in your ear.
Yay.
And she'll say, That will impress his sister, if nothing else, and she tends to go with what she thinks and feels. I'm not going to say it out loud. I'm going to wait until you say it out loud, and then I'll say what you say. But she says a sentence to you. It makes no sense. It sounds slightly batshit insane. But she says a sentence.
Are you sending it to me or what?
No.
What, I make
I'm
one
just
up?
going to wait and see if you. I'm going to wait and see if you trust her enough to say it. And if you want to say it, I will say it out loud.
He trusts her in this case since he thinks if she's he doesn't understand what's going on, but he has enough attachment to the character that she embodies that he trusts that at this point.
Okay. In that case, she will turn on her heel and she'll disappear. However, her head will pop back into existence a brief second later, a flash later. She'll say, "Oh yes, and by the way, that thing that your friend was working for, I wouldn't recommend it. As a matter of fact, give it the middle finger if you ever see it and walk away. Toodaloo." And the head will disappear again. For those of you outside of what I will refer to lovingly as Solon's mind trip, you basically perceive an overwhelming wash of primal energy as soon as she proceeds to ventilate this man's brain. There is essentially a moment where he stands there before being swathed and bathed in golden light, to the point that even Saisho has to turn his face away to avoid himself being blinded by it. Everyone is dazzled for a split second, and that entire conversation takes place over the course of a dozen or so heartbeats. When the golden light dies away, however, you will materialize at your feet will be a briefcase, and in your hand probably in your jacket pocket will be the small notebook that she provided you made out of spider silk. And we will go back in 1, 2, 3, boom, flash, ow, eyes, and now the light will dissipate as you come hurtling back into reality.
I need a cigarette.
Saisho will kind of look at his sister and quirk an eyebrow, and he'll say, "Was that what I think that was?"
Indeed. I believe it was, brother.
That is most interesting.
Through the mental link. Can I keep him, brother?
If you wish, darling sister. She'll kind of quirk his head, and he'll say, "Welcome to the family, as it were, Mr. Weiss."
Thank you. He looks around for a second, seems very surprised to see the briefcase at his feet, and just looks at it and goes, "That's yours."
He'll cock his head to the side and say, "May I have context?"
If I'm not very much mistaken, it's every penny. He nods his head over towards where Adrian's corpse was. Is it still there?
It's still there.
Every penny he stole from you.
How very interesting. I must thank you. That's over 500,000 euros. You have my gratitude.
And did I get that sentence, by the way, or?
Oh yeah. She, would you like to declare you're saying the sentence?
Sure.
He will look at you. He will look at Ikiro, and he will say the following sentence: "Oh, by the way, Mr. Gravedigger has an absolutely terrible fashion sense. I mean, really, who the hell would wear that?"
And he's just going to kind of look and be like, "Don't know why I'm supposed to say that."
She's still got to save a little bit of face, but so through the mental link, all Saisho hears is squeals of happiness and enjoyment and amusement, and she will just kind of repeat intermittently between the little squeals of happiness that she is definitely keeping him.
Once again, through the mental link that they share, "As you say, sister." In that case, he'll smile and he'll say, My sister wishes, I believe, to explain your new life situation to you, Mr. Weiss. So, by all means, you will be our guest here this evening. Arrangements you see fit in order to have whatever plans you had put on hold until tomorrow. There is a great much that must be discussed.
Of course.
Quick
There's a nod.
Quick point of interruption, just to be sure.
Mhm.
Evan or Kim, do either of you have spirit sight up? I assume one of you does.
Kim does.
Yeah.
Kim,
Was it?
in the few seconds since like the flash, you can see Adrian's wraith. It looks wrong. It looks like imagine someone had cut open the head and then stapled it shut.
Don't care. Gonna bind it.
Oh no, what I'm saying is it looks like it's been heavily mangled. Something else did something horrible to that wraith. And you might want to look into it.
Oh yeah.
This is Anthony dropping a bit of plot specifically for Kim.
Would you like, Kim, do you want to make maybe an intellect wraith lore roll to see the fuck?
Let me stretch. Okay. That was a good stretch. Dude, my back feels awesome. Anyway, yes, I will make the wraith lore, and then I'm gonna make a spirit lore, because that bitch is mine. How much wraith lore do I have again? Hold up.
You can slowly see it drifting away.
Well, fuck, this wraith lore will take me like
Half a second.
no seconds in game, because it's just kind of like she got to look at it, so it's gonna...
Oh yeah, like you see it slowly trying to drift away.
It ain't gonna go far, and it's not... Oh, man, it's not gonna be reaped, because all that stupid fucking shit... Oh, actually... I want to see if it happens. Also, that is... Does my specialty in Wicked Bright apply?
I would say so.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 successes.
Okay, that wraith has categorically, positively been altered by a mage. Like someone went in with mind and spirit and rewrote Adrian Cutler's brain on a spiritual level to the point he was basically reprogrammed. You've seen that level of reprogramming before. If you've ever encountered people who were reprogrammed by the technocracy, it's that level of fuck you. Whoever it was, not necessarily the technocrats, but whoever it was, took out his mind, entirely rewrote it, turned loyalty into betrayal, love into hate, so on and so forth, and then put it back.
These motherfucking people messing with my motherfucking wraiths. Okay. So now time to do this roll to bind that wraith, because it is mine. Diff 7, because it's spirit 4 plus 3. She's gonna reach out and kind of grab her brother's hand. That'll be a minus.
It's better than just randomly face palming me.
She only did it because we were in the Shadowlands, and she was just kind of like, I'm gonna make this comical. But no, she'll just kind of reach out and take his hand. Because that'll also give me a lot more Quint. And I love Quint. So that'll bring it down to diff 5, and then I will spend 2 Quint to make it diff 3. Actually, no, because we are in our sanctum, so that would already... Nah,
Yeah,
whatever.
we're already in the sanctum, so it would reduce it by -2.
Sweet, so I don't have to spend Quint. Love it. That is just 2 successes. I will probably need more. Wonderful.
Anthony, what is the rate's power stat? Is it its pathos?
Yeah, pathos, yeah.
You'll need to roll successes equal to its pathos to find it.
What's the pathos?
4.
Yep.
It's a new rate. So it's probably going to be about 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay.
It's also been thoroughly fucked with. So one thing you should note, since you have got a lot of Wraith lore, it has Pathos 4. It has Angst on the edge of Specterhood.
Oh, fuck.
That's fine. If necessary, you can actually reduce its angst. Mages can reduce Wraith's angst. Thank you, Hollow. Thank you, Tradition Book Hollow Ones, for telling me that.
Yup.
That's it.
I love the way that they describe that the Hollow Ones do it too.
Yeah, they do.
Anyway, so that is a total of 6 successes.
Oh yeah, that's easy.
Basically, what you will see is basically the kanji that represents Akira will basically be branded on its forehead, and you will hear you will be able to see the sizzling of its flesh as it is bound into your service, essentially bound to you.
And you will hear a loud sort of pained, grief-stricken wailing. It sounds truly lamentable if you care about such things.
That would work.
Really pick that up.
So in that case, I'm
Don't
going to
see why not.
I'm going to cut the scene here as we have done our awakening. So I would like to say thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. Thank you, Anthony, for co-GMing with me. And this has been another Scene in Darkness in Dublin. We wish you all a pleasant evening, and may your wraiths forever be branded with my sister's sign on their forehead. Have a pleasant evening.